Phil, several years ago, 50 years ago, Congress developed a Congressional Budget Act and developed and established the Congressional Budget process to try to have rules and norms. Just going back to the beginning, what was the purpose? Why did Congress come up with the Congressional Budget Act?
Well, the first thing that you have to remember is that the actual, I think the sort of most important reason for the creation of the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act, and I think this impoundment control is important, what presidents were doing, it turns out especially President Nixon, was they would sign appropriation bills that had been passed by Congress, and then they would just refuse to spend the money if they didn't agree with the programs. And it made the Congress mad. And it turned out, as just an extra bonus, it was unconstitutional. And so the Congress wanted to pass a law that sort of reasserted the congressional role in the budget process. And it did this first by trying to control presidential impoundments, second by creating a source of information for the Congress that had not existed before, which was the Congressional Budget Office, and third by creating House and Senate budget committees and something called the budget resolution. And what that budget resolution was supposed to do was create an opportunity for the Congress to actually look at the whole budget. Believe it or not, prior to that point, the Congress only dealt with the budget on a piecemeal basis. So if you ask what the congressional budget was, it was just the accidental result of all of the laws that were passed by Congress and signed by the president. So interestingly, it did not, the Congressional Budget Act, while it sort of argued that this process would lead to more fiscal responsibility, it did not create what Carolyn was just talking about, which is some kind of a norm or a budget constraint. That is, it didn't say the budget that the Congress came up with had to be balanced. It simply said the Congress had to have a budget where it said these are total revenues, these are total spending, and this is what the deficit or surplus will be.
And has it generally been successful in that regard?
It's been successful in some fronts and not others. It has definitely controlled presidential impoundments, and it has definitely empowered the Congress in terms of information in a way that it was not empowered before. And the Congressional Budget Office now provides the Congress with all kinds of information on, taxes and spending and individual policies that the Congress literally had no capacity to, generate or receive before. Where it has not been successful is it has not been successful really in even enforcing an annual budget to be passed by the Congress. The budget resolution itself has become a sort of hit and miss proposition. And the thing that I think is really important to understand is there's this sort of arcane thing that it created called reconciliation, which is a way for the Congress to enact changes in taxes or entitlement spending. And the Congress increasingly, the important thing about the reconciliation process is those reconciliation bills, and this is a bit inside baseball, but it's important, those reconciliation bills cannot be filibustered in the Senate. So so what Congress has ended up doing is using the budget process in order to overcome filibusters in the Senate, meaning it's a way for the Congress to actually pass bills only by getting a majority vote. And to the point of this sort of podcast, it has tended over the last roughly 25 years to mostly pass bills that made the deficit worse, as opposed to making it better, like either cutting taxes or increasing spending. And Republicans figured out that they could use it to cut taxes. And then Democrats responded by saying, oh, we can use it to increase spending. And so the end result of that has been this reconciliation process has, as I say, made the deficit worse as opposed to better.